All right, guys, AEW Full Gear was last night, and it was a good show, but a lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of ups and downs, and I definitely will say that the latter half of the show saved the first half because the first half was a little shaky at first, but then the latter half came in and saved it. The end of the show, we'll have to touch on that towards the end. But one thing I will give credit to AEW for is that I acknowledged on my preview of AEW Full Gear that there were 9 matches on this card and they still had more time to add more matches to the main show, and they didn't do that. We had 9 matches on the main show. Tony Khan, I'm so proud of you. And I'm going to have to take that back because even though you cut 3 matches from the main show, somehow this show still fucking ended at midnight. I could have sworn it was 11 o'clock when Swerve versus Hangman was ending, and I said, oh, there's only the co-main event and the main event. They can still end this at like 11:30 if they really try. Then the show closed at 11:58 p.m. I said, they like, even when they try, they still fail. But you know what? You had less matches on the card, so baby steps. Baby steps. That being said, guys, let's talk about Full Gear. Now, I was busy during 0 hour, so I didn't really have a chance to catch much of anything that happened on that portion of the show. MJF and Samoa Joe versus the Guns did happen, and MJF and Samoa Joe retained the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, even though Samoa Joe technically was not the Tag Team Champion and did not end up achieving the championships, even though he won the champion. I don't know, it was confusing. So after the match, the Guns jump MJF, right? They're smacking his leg with a steel chair. They give it a concerto. They put the leg in between the chair, and then they stomp on it. You've seen the spot before. And they're selling the hell out of this injury. MJF is getting stretchered out of the ring. Adam Cole is there like, MJF, I got you. They go backstage. MJF gets taken out by an ambulance while Adam Cole watches on. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So like they're going to run an angle where we don't know exactly if MJF is going to wrestle tonight, even though he will. They're going to run an angle where, MJF may have to forfeit the title because he can't wrestle. I said, okay, running a show-long storyline, I can get behind that. And that leads us into the main show. We opened up the show with Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne versus Adam Cole, Darby Allin, and Sting! The entrance for Christian Cage's team had a choir of children singing out Christian Cage's song, which I thought was just a nice touch on there. A father to children all over the world is Christian Cage. The match itself was good, but like surface level good, bordering very, very decent. Like everyone got their chance to shine. We got to see fun interactions with Darby Allin and Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus and Adam Copeland and Sting and Christian Cage. We got very minimal interaction between Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, which I understand because they want to save that for when they have the singles match. But when they did touch, when they did meet, the crowd popped for it. They ate it up. I ate it up. Ric Flair was ringside with Adam, Darby, and Sting. It even got a little physical. He delivered a couple chops to Christian, who low-blowed him. Yes, Ric Flair took a bump, but not like a serious bump. He literally fell to the ground, and that's it. Adam, Darby, and Sting picked up the win for their team in what I believe was a fine opener that I would give 3 stars. Like I said, surface level good, nothing special. We get into the rest of the show. Prior to the next match, we then have to recant what just happened on the pre-show with MJF being wheeled out on the ambulance, basically to the hospital. That brings out Tony Schiavone, Bryce Remsburg, and Jay White. Tony Schiavone tells the crowd that due to the nature of MJF's injury, he is unable to compete tonight, and therefore the match between him and Jay White in the main event is canceled. Now, again, I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, they're going to run this storyline throughout the show, and then MJF is going to come out and be like, I can wrestle, bitch, I'm fine, da-da-da. We've seen this before. But then Adam Cole comes out. Adam Cole, who is on 2 crutches, 1 leg, and a prayer, comes out to the ring defending MJF's honor, saying that he will wrestle in place of MJF. I'm sitting there like, well, what the fuck are you going to do? It's not like you're some technically sound wrestler that can take it to the mat and do. You're Adam Cole, bro. Your whole moveset is your legs. Super kick, leg. The boom, leg. Canadian Destroyers, leg. Patella Brainbuster, leg. And you on a boot. So, like, you can't even run for real, for real. I get you a real homie and all, you trying to do me a solid, but if I was MJF, I would have called him on the phone like, if you don't hobble your ass to the back, you gonna lose my damn title coming out to the ring in your condition. But alas, Jay White is cool with this, obviously, because he's 100%. You're literally replacing one-legged man for another, so, I mean, I'll take that too. And then later in the show, we get a match graphic that it's official. Adam Cole will face Jay White for the AEW World Championship. Adam Cole is basically going to defend MJF's honor the same way MJF has been defending the ROH Tag Team Championships by himself. But the difference between MJF and Adam Cole was MJF was healthy before that point. Adam Cole is still injured. Like, I really wasn't understanding, if me and you have the same injury, what good are you going to do that I'm not going to be able to do? We are both going to fucking suck at the same thing. Then on top of that, Tony Khan, if I'm injured and you told me I can't wrestle, then why the hell are you allowing my friend who's also injured wrestle for me? That was the part I couldn't fathom. I couldn't understand this part logically at all. I'm injured and you told me I can't wrestle. But my friend whose ankle is on life support comes up to you and says, I want to defend the title in my friend's honor, and you look him dead in the face and say, okay, Adam Cole, what the fucking boot on his foot? Sure, you can wrestle this match for your other injured friend. What? What company would allow this? If I was MJF and Adam Cole went out there and lost my title, I would have sued Tony Khan for allowing that to happen. I would have got my title back and your damn company. But I've been told on Twitter that wrestling is fake, and I'm taking it too seriously. So let's dial this back, remember this shit is fake, and get into the rest of the card. Following that segment, Orange Cassidy defended the AEW International Championship against Jon Moxley in a rematch from AEW All Out. Now, their match at AEW All Out, in my opinion, is one of the best matches of the year, so I was excited to see what they were going to deliver in the rematch. And I must say, if the Merriam-Webster dictionary had pictures in it, then this match would be right next to the word underwhelming. Because this match was just not it at all. It severely lacked the energy of the first match they had. The match quality was nowhere near the first match either. Honestly, it was way beneath it. The match is really Orange Cassidy getting beat down by Moxley for like a good 5 to 7 minutes. Orange Cassidy making a comeback. They go back and forth for a little bit. Then Orange Cassidy hits the Orange Crush. And another Orange Crush. And another one. And another one. And he hits 6. Jon Moxley literally would not fall for 3 of them. And then no-sold the 4th one. Got hit with a 5th one, still didn't fall. Then got hit with a 6th one, and then finished off with a beach break for the pin. That was an extremely excessive finish. Unnecessarily, too. The match was not that deep and not that intense for the finish to have warranted that. Orange Cassidy retained, but the match was really just kind of for me. Really disappointing, honestly. Speaking of disappointing, Hikaru Shida versus Timeless Toni Storm for the AEW World Championship. These are 2 of the most talented women in the AEW roster. I don't know how you messed this match up, but they did. The match started off fairly good, and then it just lost momentum midway through. Started going all over the place, no certain direction. Then Hikaru Shida started coming back, but the crowd wasn't that invested. Toni Storm used 2 to 3 different shoes that didn't work. She put a metal pad in between her trunks and her ass cheeks and was going to basically do that running hip attack to Hikaru Shida, but it started slipping down her leg to the point where she had to back up, readjusted. Somehow Aubrey did not see this. She then ran, did the hip attack, turned around, plain view of Aubrey Edwards, who still somehow was Stevie Wonder and didn't see this, pinned Shida, ass out and all, still didn't see the steel cheeks, and got the win. Timeless Toni Storm is my favorite part of AEW right now, so at my core, I was happy. Bro, when I tell you I was so disappointed in this match, everything I wanted this match to be was just... I'm gonna give this match 2.25 out of 5 stars. It's bordering bad, but not quite there. It was just so disappointing. It didn't offer much of anything. The only positive is that Toni Storm is the champion, as she should be. Succeeding the women's match was the Fatal 4-Way Tag match between the House of Black, LFI, FTR, Ricky Starks, and Big Bill for the tag team titles in a ladder match. This was the follow-up we desperately needed. It lifted the crowd back up with all the high spots we saw in this match. You've seen Money in the Bank matches, you've seen ladder matches. It wasn't anything super crazy inventive, but there were ladder bridges. There were ladders being broken. People were falling off of ladders, doing crazy dives off ladders. We got meat chants and spots with Big Bill and Brody King. Malachi Black was kicking the shit out of people. Dralistico was diving. Roosh was drop kicking. FTR was FTRing. And Ricky was out here holding the fort together. I'm not going to recap this whole match, but just know that it was insanity. A bit clunky at times, but it was insanity. Ricky Starks successfully made the climb and retrieved the titles to retain for his team, Ricky Starks and Big Bill, still your AEW World Tag Team Champions. The match was very fun and a big come up in comparison to the last matches we just had. However, when it comes to specialty matches like a ladder match that doesn't end in a pinfall or submission, I kind of have to rate them based off of previous ladder matches. And fun factor, the spots, because you can't really tell a story in a ladder match. I mean, you can, but they're really difficult to do, especially when there's so many men involved. So as a ladder match, I thought it was good, fine, nothing crazy. I would give it 4 stars. You don't have to go out of your way to see it or nothing, but like, don't skip it. I thought it was good. Following that, Chris Statlander defended the TBS Championship against Julia Hart and Sky Blue. This was the second best match on the entire show, and I had 0 expectations going into this, even though I know Chris Statlander is talented, and so is Sky Blue, and Julia Hart's really good. I wasn't really looking forward to this match all too much. And considering the dud that Tony Storm and Sheeta was, I really didn't have much to look forward to, but they blew me away. This match cooked on the level I wasn't expecting it to. Listen, it's not the holy grail of AEW women's matches or anything, but as far as triple threats goes, I thought they had really good chemistry. Julia and Sky Blue worked together to get Chris Statlander out of the equation. When Chris Statlander got back in there, she was trying to power over both women. Sometimes she would, sometimes she wouldn't. And then when Julia and Sky Blue broke apart and they went at each other, that was very interesting, considering Sky Blue is now a darker version of herself, all due in part to Julia Hart. Chris Statlander is deadlift German suplexing these women all over the place. And Sky Blue was definitely showing out in this match why she should be in the women's championship contention going forward. She did not come out with the victory in this match, though. It was instead Julia Hart. Chris Statlander hit her kneeling pile driver. Julia Hart basically pushed her off, covered Sky Blue, got the win, and became the new TBS champion. Did not have it in my cards for her to win. I thought she was going to win last month, but she didn't. So I'm like, okay, she probably won't win this month either, but she took it home, and I was happy for her. She's been doing damn good character work, so I felt like, you know what? If the character is good, give her the title. Have her run with it. Let's see how this goes. So Julia Hart's the new champion, and I am here for the reign. I would give this match, honestly, I would give it 4.25 out of 5 stars. It's nearly a great match. It blew me away. I would say, if there's one match you shouldn't skip, it would be this one. Give it a watch. I think it will shock you. It's not the magnum opus of women's wrestling, but I mean, like, it's good shit. Especially on the match card that was a little bit lackluster in the beginning, we definitely needed something to coat our tongues. Something that was coated on this wrestling show was the ring, from all the blood that came out of this match right here. But we're going to talk about that in a second. First, we need to talk about the big announcement that Tony Khan had, the big signing. AEW was hyping up this big blockbuster signing for the company. Mind you, they already announced that Kota Ibushi is signed, so it's not him. Ronda Rousey was on Ring of Honor, but she's not signed, so it's neither one of them. And it turned out to be Will Ospreay, who came out to the ring, signed the contract. Will Ospreay is All Elite. He did come down to the ring and say that he will finish out his time with New Japan, so he will be back in AEW full-time by February of next year. But as of now, he is signed to AEW. We got him. This is a big pickup for AEW. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I know for a fact he is going to be a big star in the company. I know there's a lot of discourse online about, what is Will Ospreay going to bring to AEW? He's not a mainstream star. He doesn't move ratings. He's not a merch seller. First of all, everybody AEW signs is not going to be the next coming of CM Punk. Will Ospreay's not a draw. First of all, just because he's not a draw in North America does not mean he's not a draw in Japan, and doesn't mean he's not a draw in the UK. Because Will Ospreay is a draw in those countries, which means AEW will probably pick up new viewers from the UK and from Japan. Are they going to help move the ratings in America? Probably not. But are they going to bring in some possible fresh and new eyes? Yeah, they will. Not to mention, Will Ospreay is one of the hottest commodities in wrestling. All you ever hear about is how great and fantastic his matches are. He's going to add so much value to AEW television. And that's all that matters about the signing, is that he's going to add value. That's what the signing is about. If AEW books him correctly, he will be a mainstream star. If you don't like Will Ospreay, that's fine. For those of you going, who's Will Ospreay? What about the casuals? Shut the fuck up. Casuals don't give a shit about 90% of the things you care about in wrestling, I promise you. Will Ospreay will be fine, and I promise you will be fine too. Let's talk about Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland in a Texas death match. Hangman Page came out, darted for a swerve, hit him with a buckshot within the first 15 seconds, and had this man gushing blood within the first minute. Barbed wire usage was very heavy. Steel chair use was very heavy. There were a lot of chains used. Swerve was bleeding so much, pouring out of his head, that Hangman Page went underneath of him, opened his mouth, and let the blood drip into his mouth. Let me say this, that was not cool. That was disgusting. It's one thing to lick blood and give the effect that you're crazy, but when you open your mouth and let someone drip blood into your mouth, you are disgusting. Please never do that again. Swerve bought out broken glass, poured that all over him, hit a 450 on top of him. This match was just super gnarly. Then Brian Cage came out. I almost wanted to turn it off because I'm like, why are we having interference now? Hangman Page took him out, took Prince Nana out. Swerve bopped him in the back with his cinder block and then choked him out with chains, and Hangman didn't get up for the count of 10. Swerve won the match. I thought Hangman had this in the bag. I was shocked to see the result, but I wasn't mad at it at all. Swerve needs to aim for that international championship next. That has his name written all over it. This match was disgusting and brutal, but I love the brutality. 5 stars. Might be the craziest match AEW has ever done, and that covers a lot of ground. The Golden Jets versus the Young Bucks. I ain't gonna lie to you, after the last match, this match ain't do shit for me, bruh. I get the sense they tried to make an epic happen, but I was so drained from the last match, it wasn't clicking. The Golden Jets won. That's really most I could say about this match. I gave it 3 1/4. It did something, but it wasn't moving me. The advertised main event was now Adam Cole versus Jay White for the AEW World Championship. Adam Cole came out in this match on crutches, got into the ring, and before the bell can even ring, MJF comes out. Hobbling on one leg, he agrees to do the match. So now the match is officially MJF versus Jay White once again. So other than the sake of swerving the fans, this meant nothing. This was a show-long storyline that led to the exact main event that we were supposed to have in the very beginning. MJF with a bad leg then went on to have a 30-minute long Jay White New Japan match. Jay White matches can be great when he's doing those type of style matches, but it doesn't work when your opponent is trying to sell a leg injury. MJF was great at selling at points, and then there were times he would run outside of the ring, jump and do a cutter, or do a tombstone and just completely forget about the leg that's being worked over for 20 plus minutes. Then the guns came out. Then Adam Cole bopped Jay White in the head with it. It just became overwritten and overbooked. Jay White obtained the Dynamite Dozen ring, bopped Jay White in the head, and pinned him to retain the title. Oh shit. This match could have had a very simple formula, but from the very moment the night began to the very end, they overbooked it. It didn't help that it had to follow Hangman versus Swerve. This match is 2 3/4, and it's a shame because the work rate was actually good. That's my thoughts on 4 Gear. Like, comment, and follow. Talk more soon.